Good morning, dear students of first year. Today we are going to see the paper 2 Foundation of Sociology and Cultural Anthropology, Unit 4 Sociology of India. Before we are going to deep about this subject Sociology of India, first we need to know about our Indian society and its history and how long it's been prolonging, so on. India has a long history and its cultural tradition is also very old. India's cultural heritage is one of the most ancient, extensive, and varied among all those which make up the cultural heritage of mankind. Throughout the ages, many races and people contributed to Indians' culture. Some came into contact with her only temporarily, others settled permanently within her borders. The keynote of the distinctive cultures thus evolved was synthesis on the basis of eternal values. Indian society, it has a very long history and very good cultural tradition. These things are all old traditions, only we are still following in our India. Actually, Indians' culture heritage is one among the most ancient, extensive, and varied among those which make up the cultural heritage of mankind. Because when you see other countries comparing with India, there will be many cultural heritages. That is, there will be many cultural variations. Because only in India we are still now following our old beliefs, customs, and cultural values. Throughout many ages, many races, many contributions to Indian cultures have been happened. But even though nearly 4,000 and 40,000 years ago, what are the themes, what are the myths, even though myths have been created into sometimes cultured belief. That is what the Indian society is going on still now. Indian culture heritage is not only one of the most ancient, but it is also one of the most widespread and varied. It has its own geographic, ethnic, religious, and linguistic background. What is linguistic? Linguistic is nothing but a languages, because when you see there will be many language. Only in India we have different types of languages. So Indian cultural heritage is not only one among the most ancient. We are not only following our ancient things, but also we are varied in several ways. Like geographically we are varied, ethnically we are varied, religiously also we are varied, and also in linguistic also we are being varied. That is what Indian society is made up of. What are all the characteristics of Indian society? Indian tradition is ancient and continuous. This is the first characteristics, that is Indian tradition is ancient and continuous. What is that? Indian cultural tradition has a long and continuous history. As I said before, Indian cultural tradition has a long and continuous history. It extends over at least 5,000 years. With the exception of China and Japan, in the whole world we find only in India the most ancient and at least same time an unbroken stream of cultural tradition. This cultural tradition still continues to be the living tradition of this land. According to Dr. Irvathik Karve, has rightly pointed out that in the whole of the Western world, we do not find a single country which has no extensive and diverse cultural tradition as India has. As if Irvat Karve is one of the famous sociologists. He says in his writing that whole of the Western world, not even he can't able to find a single country which has no extensive and diverse culture as if we Indians have having. Second characteristics is unity in diversity. The term diversity denotes collective differences reflected in the similarities found among groups of people. These differences may be geographic, biologic, ethnic, religious, and even linguistic, and so on. Even though the ethnic diversity is perceived on the basis of biological diversity, religious diversity is visualized on the basis of religion or faith. Linguistic diversity is marked on the basis of languages spoken by a group of people. That is nothing but unity is diversity means we all have been varied by several means such as geographic, biologic, ethnic, religious and linguistic. Even though we have been diverse, but our unity is not been divided. That is what the main characteristics that is being denoted by M.N. Srinivas. Is what he is saying means M.N. Srinivas is of the opinion that the unity of India is essentially a religious one. He compared the unity that India is having with the religious one because he is, according to his opinion, that the unity of India is essentially a religious one. Then third characteristics is Dharma as the life center of society. Every nation or society has its own ethos, that is, has its own ethnic values. It is often referred to as the national ethos. According to Swami Vivekananda, has said political power. He said that political power is a kind of ethos. Professional national ethos of India, that is, political power is the professional national ethics of India, that is known as ethos, ethics or ethos of India. Religious and spiritual orientation has been the characteristic feature of Indian culture since ancient time. Before we are going to deep about this topic, religious and spiritual belief, we the sociologists should need to analyze about the religious in a sociological way. How this religious has been emerged, how these things like myth, actually according to a sociological aspect, several myths had formed and been transformed as a religious. That is what they will be saying. Like in that ancient time, our ancient people, we are now we are modern people. Our ancient people used to operate for each and everything. Like for a thunder, இடி இடிச்சா பயப்படுவாங்க, sudden fire நெருப்பை பார்த்தா பயப்படுவாங்க. So at that time they started to worship those things. Like they started to worship the god as a sun as a god. Right now we know Surya Bhagwan. So they thought that something is there. So at the time they have been seeing that the sun as a god, because the sun is giving a lot of things to them, such as light and heat, and the fire is giving a protection from the wild animals in the forest area. So at that time those ancient peoples have been started to worship the fire, the sun, the sky, the tree as a god. So that is the emerging point of a religious aspect. From that only all religious has been emerged. According to sociological aspect, we have been know about these things. So religious, coming back to the topic of Dharma as the life center of the society, according to Swami Vivekananda said political power, because political power is being as a professional the national ethics of India. Religious and spiritual orientation has been the characteristic feature of the Indian culture from the ancient time. In India, social thought, the concept of Dharma, has been the basic idea in different fields of society. This idea explains the functions and roles of different people, social institutions and organizations. Then next characteristics is harmony with nature. Another important aspect of Indian culture is that nature. As I said before, nature. and its various aspects are embedded in it. Hitler more emphasized on the value of all created life, like animals, birds, trees, mountains, rivers form a part of life. Actually, for example, these things have been, our ancient people have been compared the religious god and a nature in a same line. For example, Shiva as the Nandi or the bull as his mount, Vishnu, Brahma, Indra, all have been, all of the gods, Hindu gods have been having a animal with them. So our ancient people had been worshipped not only a god and also a animals, or it might be mountains, trees, animals, birds, rivers, whatever it is. So they kept in that way. They started to believe in that way. They kept both god and a animal or a natural things in a same way. They started to see in a same way. The mountains of Himalaya have a great impact on the Indian life. Referring to the role of mountain like Himalayas, K.M. Kapadia point out, it is not only the political life of the people of Hindustan, but the religion, mythology, art and literature of the Hindus that bear their importance of the Great Mountain Barrier. The mountains of Himalayas have a great impact on life of India, as he said, because Gauri Shek Peak of Himalaya, there is a place called Gauri Shankar Peak. Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati reside with Nandi on the top of the Gauri Shek Peak of Himalayas. There is a, in that book we can able to see that Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati reside with Nandi on the top of the Gauri Shankar Peak of the Himalayan mountain. So even though in our books of religious books they have been mentioning these kind of natural made things, so it is not only the political life of people of Hindustan, but the religion, mythology, art and the literature of Indus that bear the imprint of the Great Mountain Barrier. Like this, not only Himalayas, but the other mountains are also regarded as the abode of the gods and hence held to be sacred by Hindus. Various places of pilgrimage such as Amarnath, Kedarnath, Badrinath, Kailash are to be found in the mountains. Numerous other hills like Tirupati, Annamalai, Sabarimalai, etc., etc. And also, if you see in one way, only in India, we human beings or we modern people used to keep the name such as name of other mountains or places like Annamalai, Yamuna, Ganga, Kaveri, Narmada, Godavari, Sindhu. Like we used to keep for our siblings or for our family members, for our neighbors name in such a way, like we treat all the things like natural things and we in a same way. That is what the important characteristics of India. Then secondly, religious and demographic. Religion in India is characterized by the diversity of religious belief and practices. The preamble of Indian Constitution states that the entire constitution is rooted in Hinduism, as it encompasses all the different faiths, doctrines and theories that exist. However, at the later stage, the word secularism is added to the Indian Constitution, but with null effects of a separating state and religion in its actuality. The Indian subcontinent is the birthplace of four of the world major religion, namely Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism and Sikhism. According to 2011 census, 79.8% of population of India practices Hinduism. 14.2 adheres to Islam. 2.3% adheres to Christianity. 1.7% adheres to Sikhism. 0.7% adheres to Buddhism and 0.4% adheres to Jainism. Throughout India's history, religious has been an important part of the country's culture. Religious diversity and religious tolerance are both established in the country by the law and custom. The Constitution of India has declared the right to freedom of religion to be a fundamental right. Today, India is the home around 94% of global population of Hindus. Most Hindu shrines and temples are located in India, as are the birthplace of Hindu saints, where Hindus from across the world come together to bath in the three sacred rivers of India, such as Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. The Indian diaspora in the West has popularized many aspects of Hindu philosophy, such as yoga, medication, Ayurvedic medicine, karma, and so on. The influence of Indian religion has been significant all over the world. Several Hindu-based organizations such as International Society of Krishna Consequences, the Brahma Kumaris and Ananda Marga and others have spread Hindu spiritual beliefs and practices. The Hindu subcontinent also contains the large population of Muslims and Christians in the world. With about one-third of all Muslims being from South Asia, by 2050 the Muslim population of India is projected to grow nearly 311 million. Actually, prehistoric religion, there is a our history, this Hindu religion history, evidence attesting to prehistoric religion in the India subcontinent derives from scattered rock paintings and these rituals and many of the myths have been collected, and we have been founded the Hinduism from these kinds of scriptures, rock paintings and so on. Our Indus Valley buried their dead in a manner suggestive of spiritual practices that incorporated notion of an afterlife. Indus Valley Civilization. The Harappan people of the Indus Valley Civilization, which lasted from 3300 to 1400 BC and was centered on the Indus, that is Indus River valleys. They have been worshipped an important mother goddess, symbol is fertility. That is the emerging period of this Hinduism, and whatever that is the emerging period of this beliefs, these kind of beliefs. The excavation of Indus Valley civilization, that size, those sites had been shown seals with animals and fire altars indicating ritual association with fire. Thus from that point, that is from that Indus Valley civilization only, the worshipping of animals and fire altars, those things have been emerged. Then secondly, evolution of Hinduism in India. Hinduism is often regarded as the oldest religion in the world. as I said before, with roots tracing back to prehistoric times. Over 5,000 years nearly, Hinduism spread through parts of the Southeast Asia, like China, Korea, and Japan. Hindus worship a single god with different forms. Like Hinduism was practiced more as the culture of the land until the British era has thrived. Hinduism as a culture had always been traditionally practiced where spirituality and science are embraced in conjunction. That is, before the evacuation of British, our Indian people have been practiced Hinduism as the culture of land. After the tradition practices, the tradition practices were very spirituality, and more at the more time, those spiritual activities will be related to our scientific or science related activities. After the Western influences, Hinduism over years have been typecast as a religion. Hinduism origins include the cultural elements of the Indus Valley civilization. The oldest surviving text of the Hinduism is the Rig Veda. We will be seeing that this kind of Vedas and ashramas, varnas, dharma, karma, purushatra, and these are the Hindu social organization. We all will be seeing those things in the at the time of. So after 200 or BC, several schools of thought were formally codified in Indian philosophy, because from that time only many of the schools have been started with the major concepts of major concept that every school should be conducted in this manner, like carried out with the yoga, meditation. Those things have been emerged in school days itself. The historical root of Jainism in India was traced in the year of 9th century with the rise of non-violent philosophy. That is what Jainism says. Mahavira, the 24th Jain. Before that, 23 Jain for its Chavushi, like that something one. From this Jainism only Buddhism has been started, and it has been evacuated, and it has been traveled. His family was a so with that religious and demographic. From that point, we came to know that every religious has been designed, has been made up of by human beings according to their demographic area. Whereas if you see in the coastal areas, the people will be worshipping God as a water or a sea based God. When you see the people in interior place, like such as a hilly area, tribal peoples, if you see those type of people, they will be worshipping God as a tree as a god, or stone as a god. So this religious aspect, this religion, this kind of practices has been emerged from their demographic region, from their geographic region. So how it is been emerged? As we seen before, every religious has been emerged for some cause, because the religion had been introduced, had been emerged to safeguard or to protect the human beings. So what our ancient people have decided means, Why can't we worship our so that the religious and demographic in India is been characterized in such a way. இப்போ the religious and aspect, as we seen before, this religious aspect has been emerged from the demographic region only. Once at a certain time, our ancient people or our primitive age people had started to afraid of something, means when they got afraid, they started to worship those things. Because when you see, for example, at certain time when they found a fire, they got happy, and from that time they started to worship fire as a god, because it gives it gives protection from all the animals at the forest. So from that point, so like that only, each and every time the religious aspect is being modified. Over a time, the religious aspect is being designed in such a way. From the fire, they started to worship the tree, because the tree gives shelter. From the tree, they started to design a shape of some shape in a stone and started to worship. So this is the evolution of religious aspect. As we seen as a whole, this religious and demographic is nothing but this religion aspect is being emerged. அது வேணும்னா ஒரு மித்துக்காக ரிலீஜியஸ் வந்திருக்கலாம், பட் ஈவன் தோ த ப்ராக்டிசஸ் தட் இஸ் பீன் கேரிட் அவுட் இன் தி ரிலீஜியன் இஸ் scientific. Because we are in religion, they will be saying on every Wednesday we need to do சாண்டில் மஞ்சள் கரைச்சி வந்து ஊற்றணும், வாசல் தெளிக்கணும், வீட்டெல்லாம் துடைக்கணும். ஸோ there is a certain belief and certain practices like that. ஒரு வாரமும் அவங்க அதை செய்வாங்க. ஸோ as if they have been doing weekly. In religious aspect, they have been believed that the God will be entering in our home when we have been doing these things like மஞ்சள் தெளிக்கிறதா இருக்கட்டும், வேப்பலை வைக்கிறதா இருக்கட்டும், and so on. As if we seen these things in scientific way, it has been proven that மஞ்சள் வந்து it's an antibiotic. So in those days, our ancient people have been doing antibiotic, have been protecting their family with that antibiotic. Or they know, because now we have been proving everything with our scientific knowledge, with our scientific technology, but our primitive people are more brilliant than us right now. So in this way only the religion aspect has been emerged and it has been practiced. So that's why religion and demographic both are same, because every demographic region only decides a religious or its religion practices. Like that only it has been modified, and like that only it has been practiced right now. So by giving a small conclusion, I like to finish off this topic today. We have seen how our Indian society is made up of, how our Indian society is being built, how it is being varied from other countries, and second topic, religious and demographic, how our ancient people had designed our religious aspect, how it has been emerged, how it is being directed, and now still now how we have been using those religion practices. So as if every practices that is carried out by every religion is not only a myth, there will be some hidden benefit or hidden details about that particular myth. Myth is nothing but moodanambikaigal. We have been simply saying that each and everything that is carried out in religious is myth, 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 myth. No, not at all. Because every practices that is being carried out in a religion will be having a reason. That particular reason only denotes that particular religion's activities. So we can't able to say that it's just a myth. So as a sociologist, we all need to analyze each and every myth, and we need to compare the myth with our scientific researchers, and we need to study more detail about every myth, how it has been started, how they have been carried out, why at a particular time. We need to keep on asking question, why, what, how, where, when, those blah blah blah. So as a sociologist, we need to be like that, in such a way, in that a manner, so that only we can able to identify each and everything in different way or in different angle. So with that, we can able to, now we know that what are the characteristics of Indian society, what is Indian society, how it has been formed, and the religious and demographic, how the religious has been formed, what is the relationship between religion and the demographic region or the geographical region, how the religions varies according to the demographic, what is the actual religion system in India, how we have been going on, what is Hinduism, how it has been emerged, how it is going on, how Hinduism is related with a geographical region or a natural things, and see and so on. We have been discussed these things today, and with that I like to conclude the topic. Thank you.